The Hump, Episode 3, Walk the Earth. Welcome to The Hump, your show about how to get one over in this thing called life. This is Brent Bowen.
Chad Beeland.
How you doing, man?
I am doing so good with the
sweet nectar.
Nectar of the gods.
I propose we actually maybe just sit here and drink beer.
Let's have an episode where we literally just sit here and
drink beer. That'll probably rank right up with you and me having an episode where we bring my pug in and we interview him.
Yeah, him snugging his crotch and
licking his ball. Well, he doesn't have any balls. He's been since neutered.
Would be a good episode. Though.
Good episode. It'll be high entertainment.
Adrenaline pinching.
High entertainment. Well, we might just sit here. So the brewery of the week, you want? I can see you. You just want to launch right into it, don't you?
I just want to sip it right out of the bottle. It's so good.
All right. So for folks that are watching and then listening later, our brewery and beer of the week is one of my personal favorite breweries. And then the beer was hard to acquire. I had to go all the way to New York City to get this beer, as you know. Is Founders. Is a brewery out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. That's on my bucket list of places to visit. Not Grand Rapids per se, but the brewery.
Yeah, that's the only thing I know about Grand Rapids. But
yeah, it's the Founders is there, and it's CBS, Canadian Breakfast Stout.
Love those Canadians. They're so nice.
Yeah, they are so nice, and the beer is very nice. And you and I both tried to acquire this beer here around the holidays, and wasn't here.
No, nowhere to be found.
So I flew to New York. Was going to New York anyway. It's not like I made a trip for the beer. For this trip for beer, I've made trips for beer.
Yeah.
And found it in a Whole Foods, and believe it or not, there was an entire rack dedicated to this beer. Nobody had bought it. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was in my Untapped wish list. And when I was in New York last month, I got a notification that it was available in Trenton, New Jersey. And I actually thought about, how do I get to Trenton, New Jersey from here? But that's a little far. It was probably an hour and a half round trip,
So you struck out of the Whole Foods. Did you check?
I did check. It
wasn't there.
Nowhere to be found.
Well, so we've already announced the beer. We probably need to toast a few folks. But before we do that, this is actually our third episode. If you've not caught the first couple episodes, you can find us on Facebook. Both of the replays are on Facebook. And then yesterday, we released the very first episode in podcast format, and we're officially on iTunes, which is awesome.
We have arrived.
And not only on iTunes, we got a... need to remember my beer manners. We got a little nod from Tony's Kansas City on his blog today.
Man, Tony.
So driving a little traffic. That and some big-breasted women all over the blog. Had gnome butt and some big-breasted women.
Yes, that's an interesting blog, I will say. Good information.
When we start having guests, though, I reached out to Tony and I said, when we start having guests, we're going to have guests.
I literally have no idea what he looks like. I guess I haven't scoured his blog enough, but
I've seen an interview with him on the Pitch.
Yeah.
Pitch magazine, Kansas City. So I've seen a picture of him. I'd be able to spot him out in the crowd. But anyway, got a little nod from him, which is awesome. So who are we toasting this week? It's Walk the Earth. There was something that happened a couple weeks ago where some folks walked the aisle.
Yeah, they did walk the aisle. I spent the weekend in Wichita, Kansas. It was beautiful. Central Standard Brewing, good brewery if you ever go down there. But some very close and personal people to myself. Got married. It was a beautiful thing. It was a great ceremony. It was fun. Cheers. You know
Cheers.
Who you are.
Toast. The lovely couple, we will toast them.
Oh.
And then you continued to walk. Did you walk before or after the wedding? Because there was the March for Our Lives.
We walked that
which
morning.
I have to applaud you. I have to toast you.
Oh, cool.
I'm going to toast you. The fact that you are down there for a celebration of the beginning of these couples' lives
Yeah, it was actually my wife's idea.
And then you guys took the time to then go ahead and participate in the march in Wichita.
We were staying downtown, and she found out about it, and she's like, she made up some signs and everything. She was way prepared.
What'd your sign say? Do you remember?
It was pretty tame compared to some of the other ones we saw.
What's the wildest one?
I sent you a picture of one of them. I cannot remember what it is right now, but oh my God, there's some stuff that, teachers need pencils, not guns. That was kind of a one that stood out. But there were some really funny ones out there. People applaud them.
Got creative. I do recall you sending those to me and what are you doing?
But it wasn't the million people they had in Washington or anything. It was probably, I don't know, maybe 1,500 people, which hey, it's a movement, and change is going to happen.
It was an impressive day. Well, and I wrote a blog post recently. I wasn't able to participate, but marketing colleague, friend of mine, wrote a book around marketing to Gen Z, and the timing of the release of it couldn't be more prescient.
Yeah.
Is because she actually spoke in a blog post she wrote about the book about this is the now generation. They don't wait to let other people do things for them. They get involved and do it themselves. And she pointed to the Parkland, Florida incident and the other incidents of gun violence that we've had and around how the students are taking action. So I thought it was really cool that while you guys were down there, you decided to get involved.
It was neat because, we took my daughters with us, and it was fun. I mean, you're right. These kids they're motivated and they're organized and they're fearless. When we were their age, I think we were maybe trying to get the drinking age to get lowered to 18.
Yeah.
Not like something that really is going to, help. But
I wasn't chasing signs and a message or change.
Yes.
I was chasing women or young girls or young women at that time.
Yeah, so. It was impressive. They had teenagers ran it. Teenagers were speaking. I mean, every speaker was that generation. Well organized. I was impressed.
That's very cool. Well, and we have to mention this too. The theme's walking today, and we're going to talk about walking. And believe it or not, Becca's provided some questions I need to ask you too that I may have not even put in your notes. But today commemorates there's commemoration of the 50-year anniversary of the assassination of Martin Luther King too, and we'd be remiss if we didn't mention that from the standpoint of toasting Dr. Martin Luther King.
Yes, he was a great man.
Yeah, meant a lot of change, and we not quite realized all the change we need to see, obviously, but certainly an important day in that regard that people are kind of carrying forth his message. So very cool. So what else have you been up to? You've been busy, obviously, with the wedding and a little travel. What else have you been up to?
Just watching a lot of basketball. I mean, the tournament finally ended. My K-State Wildcats got much farther than I anticipated, which was a good thing. But I don't know, ready for spring. I heard we're supposed to get 4 inches of snow in the next day or two. Like, this is bullshit. Like, it's April. Let's move on.
Yeah, this was ridiculous. When I woke up this morning to take the trash out, the curb was water had been running from the previous precipitation and then it had frozen in place. And then even you were talking about basketball. What a difference a week makes. I mean, it's crazy. If we'd been doing this time last week, I was giddy as hell. Yeah. Right? I just giddy out of my mind, having made with University of Kansas, KU making the Final Four. I was just giddy as all get out.
Until they ran into the buzzsaw that is Villanova.
Yes, they ran into that buzzsaw, and that's about the only way you could describe them.
I mean, they destroyed everybody. I saw like the average margin of victory was like 16, 18 points. It was nuts.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And that night when we played Villanova, because we had prior good luck with me watching the game outside. You're talking about spring?
Yes.
It was nice that day, during the day. So Becca and we were making Bob's Burgers, working through our Bob's Burgers recipe. And she said, well, you go ahead and grill them instead of me doing them in the oven. I'm like, sure, it's great. It's out here and nice outside. And I hadn't seen the weather report that the cold front was coming through about the time I was going to grill. So I'm out grilling. And then we pull the projector and the screen out on the back porch because the 2 times we've been in the Final Four in the past 10 years prior, I had watched the game out on the patio.
And there's a direct correlation to KU's winning percentage and you sitting on the patio.
Well,
Makes sense.
all of my superstitions. Well,
Yes.
you've been with me for KU superstitions.
You've
seen the rally pants.
I have the
Like-
same. I have to have the volume at the right level, and I flip my wedding ring. I got all kinds of weird quirks myself.
I only put the rally pants on. We only lost to Kentucky in 2012 because I put the rally pants on too late, which was 2 minutes into the game.
Yeah. They need time to warm up. The rally pants just don't throw it out there. They gotta.
Oh, I think they were pretty warm. I hadn't washed them the entire
Well, that's the other thing. You can't wash them because you gotta keep that stank on it because that helps them win.
The good news is this is all running on into my son. He's learning all these bad habits from me. So he had some funky T-shirts going during that run. So.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, I missed you too because I had the big basketball and beer party and put the picture on.
I saw all the damage, man. There was some.
It was double the damage from the year prior, or it was 2 years prior. So
It sounded like a good time.
it was a good time. Yeah, it was a good time. Had a couple fellas by the end of the evening and were screaming for Taco Bell. So it's a bad night when they're like, I need a fourth meal.
Guys that are used to drinking Bud Light and drinking 9%.
Craft beer, yeah, not a good
Knock
scene.
me on your ass.
Not a good scene. So you and I have some plans this weekend.
Yes. I'm very excited.
Mm.
Tap tour. Yeah, there's just been an explosion of craft breweries in Kansas City. It seems like there's a new one popping up about every week. But they put on Visit KC puts on the tap tour where you basically get like a passport and you go to each brewery and you get like a discount and a stamp in your passport. And when you get all of them done, you get a wonderful
Lovely
Charlie Hustle t-shirt.
This year, I think the T-shirt vendor's a little different.
It's not Charlie Hustle.
It's not Charlie Hustle. I think the Visit Kansas City is not playing. The Visit KC folks aren't playing favorites, and I think they moved it to a different T-shirt vendor. But they also upped the stakes because when you and I did it last year, we only had 11 breweries to hit.
Yes.
This year it's 19. You and I are 2 in, so we have 17 to do over less than an 8-week period. So I built an itinerary yesterday with a week off that gets us to success.
Beautiful. I mean, it's work. I'm not going to deny it. It is work, but I think we can make it. I'm confident.
We can make it. We can definitely do it. So we got that going on. And speaking of Visit KC, and we got a lot going on tonight, so I'll bring that up. Last week, Beck and I went to the actual Visit KC. They have like an influencer class, and you and I were talking about that on Friday. It was pretty funny because even you just teasing her the other night got her preferential treatment at the bar. Yeah. She got a second extra beer. I think what I'll do next time. I actually have my little button. I think next episode when we talk, I'll bring it up next episode. Yeah. I'll actually wear my Visit KC VIP button, and we'll talk a little bit about the class. It was pretty cool, man. We learned some things about the heritage of the city, and then also just how the city's progressing from a tourism and convention standpoint.
It's relatively speaking. I mean, it's not Chicago, but it's a cool town. There's lots of good stuff to do.
Yeah, did you know that, and I heard this on NPR years ago, in the mid-'70s, Kansas City, Dallas, and Atlanta
all the same size.
All the same size
population,
from a population standpoint. And then, obviously economic development went quite a bit different for Dallas and Atlanta. Atlanta hosted a freaking Olympics for crying out loud. So, yeah, it's good to see kind of Kansas City catch up proverbially, if not quite there. So, anyway, we'll talk about. But you and I this weekend, I'm looking forward to our catch up. What I'm calling you and I have worked in financial services, and we're familiar with catch up contributions.
Yes,
we are going to do catch up consumption this weekend.
Catch up consumption.
Not
the condiment, but the actual,
Yes, catch up, not catch.
I mean, this is the pickle we put ourselves into. So now, we got to put in the work to get the job done.
Yeah, 45 and over, you do catch up consumption.
Okay.
So we're gonna do that. All right. So the theme's already been walking, and today is National Walking Day.
I knew I had an extra spring in my step. I felt extra spry today, and I could not explain why until you told me that.
And if there is one man that walks the earth like Kane in Kung Fu, it would be you.
Yeah.
You and people don't realize or know this about you. It's kind of, I got to talk about death and taxes last week, or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
So
it's kind of like
we're-
that guy that doesn't look very intimidating, but he'll like kick the shit out of you. Like that's how I am. I don't look. I'm not a physical specimen, but man, I can do some walking.
You can walk the shit out of somebody. When you and I went to New Orleans,
So good at it.
you hurt, and I wore the wrong shoes. I look like a suburban homeless person.
At least you took the socks off.
I did take the socks off. Becca was proud of me in that regard. But you can, when you and I were in New Orleans,
Yeah.
you wore the middle pad of my foot off. And I don't know how that's possible. Normally you get something on the side, you get something in the arch, but the middle pad was worn off. And Becca wants to know. So Becca, she asked me, she was like, ask Chad why he walks so fast.
It's just my gait.
Your legs are not especially long.
They're pretty long. But also I'm just somebody, I'm very focused. Like if I'm trying to get somewhere, let's get there the most direct and quickest path possible. And you're not the first person that I wore down into submission. Last year when we were in Barcelona, my wife and I, we did a ton of walking that day. We had a day I went looked at my steps. We had a day we walked 16 miles, just seeing the sights. I like to get down on the street level and see everything. And the last day we were in Barcelona, we were trying to get to this little brew place that had great beer. And I look over at her, and she's kind of like an extra in The Walking Dead or something. Like, like her leg was kind of dragging behind her, and she kind of had like a limp. And I finally realized the damage that I had done, and I said, babe, let's just get a cab. And we cabbed it to her where we were going at that point.
How was she the next day?
It took a while for the feet to get back to normal. I just love
to walk,
getting out and seeing things.
You pretty much, is that why you love to get out and walk? Because I've traveled with you, I know a little bit of the reason why, but that's why is you can really explore kind of the places you go visit.
Yeah, exactly. When you're traveling and stuff, I like to experience, soak up the culture and whatnot. So I like to like I said, get down the street level and interact with the people, so to speak.
So when you were in Spain, was that the furthest you'd ever walked? Was that 16 miles in one given day?
Yeah, that week was pretty epic. I think pretty much every day we put like at least 13 miles in.
Wow.
But that's Europe. Getting places, it's easier just to walk a lot of times.
I'm trying to think of where I've probably walked the furthest or the most, and they warn you. So, and you've never been there, nor do I expect you to ever go. Is Disney World?
Yeah, I'm never.
So like,
no.
You're never going. Okay.
I've been actually, but I'm done.
You're done. You were there for like a day.
No, I was there like, I don't know, 4 or 5 days.
4 or 5 days. Okay, so you have been. But they say at Disney World, at a minimum, you walk 5 to 10 miles a day.
Yeah.
At a minimum. And we went.
Well, that's just like.
Oh well, let's not get started. Let's not get started with Magic Kingdom. Magic Kingdom's death by stroller. It's not just walking.
Get kneecapped by an umbrella stroller.
Oh, there were some people there that didn't even have young children that were walking with strollers. They had bags in it. They were putting their shit in it, and they were using it as a weapon to start just ramming it. So if you're in their way and you're not walking at the clip you walk at, they just
plow the road.
Yeah, it is. It's like one of the snow trucks that we have to clear the ice and snow. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But it was about 5 years ago. Becca and the kids, we went with my parents, and this was the time my dad was still kind of walking quite a bit, and they went with us. And by the time we were done the first day, my dad was walking sideways with his body bent sideways.
Why is your shoulder so low?
I think he slipped a disc in his back.
Yeah.
And then was not right the entire
You
rest.
broke him.
We did break. That's the way Becca phrased it. Yeah, I broke him. What's the strangest thing you've ever seen on one of your walks?
That's tough. You see a lot of strange stuff in Europe and whatnot, but I don't know. That's a good walks. One of my favorite was last year we were in Santorini and we walked from like halfway across the island, and it was just like a cliff on one side, 500 feet, and just it was gorgeous. I mean, that's a good day.
That is a good day.
Walking to like somewhere that has beer, even better.
That's
day.
a better day. Well,
Yeah.
that's about the only time I run. When it's National Running Day, and you know this because we ended up doing Beck and I did the Stockyards 5K last year, and I ran most of well, maybe not all. Yeah. Well, a portion of it.
You ran like 2K.
Yeah, I ran 2K.
Yeah.
But when we hit the last 800 meters, I ran to the beer. It was pretty.
Hey, you got to have the right carrot in front of each person, and that's a good carrot to dangle in front of you.
Yeah, that, and I had somebody behind me too that was like 80 years old. That was my pacer, and Becca still.
Combination of I don't want to be embarrassed about an 80-year-old man and beer in front of me.
Beer in front of me. The combination of it won out.
Outside of like a grizzly bear behind you, that's about as good as you can get motivation-wise.
Yeah, it was proper motivation. The strangest thing Becca and I have ever seen walking, and this is in our neighborhood, and there will be a couple times I out my neighbors for some crazy shit.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say which particular neighbor. Becca and I were opening up the garage to go out to a walk in one morning, and we see the FBI pull up in front of the neighbor's house.
That's something you see every day.
Guns drawn.
Really?
And we ran back into the house, then did the old business with the blinds. And I actually have photos and video where I'm video recording. So we never actually conducted the walk.
This is going to be a payday. Like, this is going to be valuable footage I can sell to CNN or somebody.
Yeah, TMZ. Yeah, totally.
Whoever,
TMZ. And they pull my neighbor out on the front porch in his underwear. And apparently...
What kind of underwear?
It was tighty-whitey kind of.
Really?
Yeah, underwear.
That's it?
Well, he had a T-shirt on, too.
Okay.
But the FBI, guns drawn. And apparently...
It's obviously he's not armed if he's in...
No, not tidy white. Well, he may have been armed, but it wasn't anything that was going to hurt the FBI.
That's bad.
Yeah, it was bad. Sorry. Apparently, this neighbor of ours had a buddy that was involved in some illegal, online gambling ring, and had brought his or her computer over to the house and was conducting the activities on their...
So they're tracking him?
So they were tracking it, and the FBI spotted it at their house and then ended up hauling him away for a day.
Well, your neighborhood is kind of sketchy.
It is pretty sketchy. At least a few spots of it.
Yes.
Well, my neighbors will end up being Triple D, too, because I got one. Not tonight's Triple D, but my neighbors will be featured in Triple D at some point.
I know where that one's going, and... we could dedicate an entire episode to that.
Yes. So, anything else you'd like to add about walking that I may have missed? There's something I'm missing about walking. Any tips for walkers out there? Good shoes.
Good shoes, always.
Well,
you had crappy socks. That was your...
They weren't crappy socks. They were really nice socks, but wearing wool socks with ill-fitting shoes led to some serious blisters.
Wool socks, that's a hot zone, man. I mean, it's just like...
The friction. Yeah.
Moist friction. Not a good thing.
I got back from New Orleans, and those pads, I was hoping to keep the pad of my skin, thinking, okay, I've toughed it up for the next time we go on a trip.
Yeah.
I mean, it literally, that skin ended up being like a half-inch thick, but it didn't survive. It ended up having to get...
Yeah, I mean, my feet are like driftwood, so they're just almost stone. Like, they don't, nothing impacts them at this point.
All right. Any other tips in walking?
No, I'm pretty well walked out.
All right, walked out. All right. National Walking Day, folks. You heard it from Chad. Cheers. The Walker Supreme.
Walk it up.
Walk the earth. All right, so now we're going to move from walking to talking for Triple D. All right, so our Triple D scenario, little talk instead of walk is... So if you're not familiar with Triple D, you just joined us or you're just listening for the first time, if you're joining the podcast, when we throw this out on audio, each week we're going to have a Triple D discussion. We'll throw out a scenario and discuss whether it's a dick douche or dumbass move. All right? And this week's Triple D move, and Beck and I just recently experienced this when we went on our Oscar movie watching tour.
Yeah.
Was this week's Triple D move someone who talks or sings in the theater during the middle of a movie?
You know, a lot of these scenarios definitely lean one way or another. This is one of those that literally could be anyone. Dick, dumbass, douche move. Like, it can be anything.
It's all about intent with this one, do you think?
And the individual. It's a kind of a case-by-case basis. I mean, you told me a little bit about the story.
Well, the story, we went to go see Shape for, one of the beauties of running your own company is that if you decide you want to take a Friday afternoon off and block it out and go see a movie with your wife, then we went to go see Shape of Water, and there was a couple sitting right next to us and when there was a song sequence, one of the members of the couple, one individual, decided to break into show tune and sing the song right next to us, and
there's no business like show business.
That's actually not too bad. But we're like, really? And it completely pulled us out of the movie.
Like a movie. You weren't seeing like Mamma Mia or something. Like, I can't imagine that people are going to see The Shape of Water based on the soundtrack.
There is some musical accompaniment to it, and there's a bit of nostalgia to that movie. Mm-hmm. I get it. And humming might have even been acceptable.
Yes.
I mean, I've been known on occasion. I was doing it before we even started the show. I've become quite fond of our intro music, and I've been running around the house humming our intro music. And Drew, Dee's caught me at every corner going, "Dad, stop it, enough!" But to sing,
but you know when to shut up. I mean, it even tells you before the movie to shut up.
Yes. Well, and actually, speaking of that, several years ago, Dee and I, when I took her to go see. It was a Shrek movie.
Yeah.
There was a man laughing, guffawing, and talking behind us, and she was 5 at the time, and just kept doing it. About halfway through the movie, my daughter, she's got some stones on her.
She got some spunk.
She has some spunk. She stood straight up, turned around, and goes, "Shh, shame!" She shamed him big time in the middle of the movie. It was awesome. So, all right. So so in my scenario, I'll answer. I'm trying to think about that, whether that was a dick, douche, or dumbass move. Because I think the spirit was that, you could tell that individual was feeling it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This one's a case-by-case basis.
I think that was just plain dumbass. I'm caught up in the moment. I've lost control, and I'm not conscious. Again, it comes to consciousness.
Yes.
I'm not conscious really of what I'm doing until then somebody points it out, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But then I also went to go see Ready Player One, and this last week, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I know you have no interest really in seeing it, but there was a dad and his teenage son, and the dad continued to talk through the entire movie to his teenage son. And again, it was just really a case of over exuberance of going look at this pop culture reference. Look at this pop culture reference. Look at the
DeLorean from Back to the Future in it. Yeah, I get it.
And that movie is overstuffed with a lot of 80s nostalgia, so it's hard to not
out on it.
And it was kind of a dumbass movie. And at one point during the movie, I ended up, and this is me being a dick, leaning over to Becca and saying, "Boy, this movie would sure be great if there wasn't as much talking during the middle." And then it all quieted down. So sorry, dude. But anyway.
Yeah, I actually have a kind of a inverted dick scenario for this one. So 10 years ago, I took my daughters, they were both young at the time, to go see Madagascar 2. And I was trying to find a time that we could go see it when, it worked out, with everything else. So there was a 10:45 show on a Saturday morning. So we go to the movie, the three of us, and the theater's packed with little kids everywhere and just, and before the movie started, it was really loud in there, but I was just I had the little kids are excited, whatever. So the movie started, and the volume didn't go down at all. The chatter just kept going, and there's kids everywhere, and it was just out of control. And I kept doing, what you do when you're in a movie and somebody behind you's making noise. You give them the,
Or you got, now for audio purposes, you're giving the lean to.
Kind of the lean with the stink eye a little bit, hey, chowderhead, shut it off. And it didn't make any difference. And I started getting really frustrated. And my daughters were like, I can't even hear the movie. It's so loud. So about 20 minutes into the movie, I'm boiling, like trying to figure out what the right thing to do is.
This isn't Madagascar, mind you.
Madagascar 2, yes. The sequel. It was much better than the original. And all of a sudden I feel a tap on my shoulder, and this mom leans in and she's like, "You seem confused." And I'm like, "Hell yeah, I'm confused." She's like, "This is a special screening for children with autism." I just shrunk into my seat, felt like the biggest dick ever. Like, oh my God, I'm stink eyeing everybody in this theater, and I'm the dick. Not my best moment.
So did you stay for the rest of the movie?
Of course, I want to see how it ended. Nevertheless, I didn't feel good about it. Like,
no, my ass would have been out of that theater.
I was like, "Who's she telling me I look confused?" I was confused.
You were very confused. Oh, was your eyesight poor at the time? I know your eyesight's not the best now. Did you not see the little caption that it was?
There was nothing. I bought the tickets online. When I went there, I had kids. Nobody at the ticket booth told me.
Told it was a special.
No, it was just
showing for autistic children.
I don't even think it was like the movie was dedicated for that. It was just they were basically saying, we're a big group of people. Let's go see Madagascar 2. Not my best moment.
No, not your best moment. Jay, what do you think, man? Dick, douche, dumbass move.
On whose part?
Oh, Chance.
I kind of feel bad for you. I would be confused too. I'd be like, "What is going on here?" But then, I don't know. I can't side with any of it. I just feel bad for you. Yeah.
It's a case by case, like I said.
Case by case basis.
I saw I still remember The Waterboy. I don't know how I remember that movie, but it was teenagers, the ages of our interns, and they're behind us just yammering the whole time. And I finally just turned around and was like, "Hey, if you want to talk, go somewhere else." And they shut up at that point.
Yeah, the first incident I remember of somebody actually talking in a theater was when I went to go see the movie Coming to America with Eddie Murphy with a high school friend of mine. Yeah. And we saw it in Leavenworth, Kansas. And there wasn't just talking. I mean, there was
conjugal visit.
There was shouting at the screen shouting at the screen for Eddie to do certain things or not do certain things. And then it devolved into a zip and a head disappearing in the theater. And that falls into the dick classification.
Hey, insert earmuffs.
So that's always a treat. Yeah, speaking of which, this is our walk episode. We got our intern who was grounded on house arrest.
Yes.
He's been able to walk. He was able to walk.
He got the ankle bracelet on, but he's good.
All right, Kay, so what do you think? Dick, douche, or dumbass move?
That's a dumbass move right there.
A dumb
How though? It's
because he didn't know he was being like either a dick, douche, or dumb. He was just like, "Shut up," but then he realized it's he just
why are we still talking about me?
Oh wait, I don't know.
It was a general scenario, but your story was so impressive. Your story was so impressive.
I'm out of here, man.
It just came straight to you. All right. So in general, though, Jay, what is a dick, douche, dumbass move?
It's a dick move. I paid to watch the movie. I deserve to watch it how I want to watch it.
All right. Cool. I can buy that.
K-Man,
what do you think?
Who's
Dick, not Chad.
Okay.
In
Not
general,
me,
if you went to a movie tomorrow and somebody started talking, would it be a dick, douche, or dumbass move?
that's a dick move.
It's a dick move. So we got Dick. We're a scenario. I'm going to pull
gun to my head. I will say it's a dick move because they make an announcement before the movie even starts.
Yeah. Well, if you go to the Alamo, they haul your ass out of there.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I actually got warned once.
Did you?
Yeah.
See, and I'm going to go dumbass just because I'm going to play the over-exuberance card. Most of the times I've seen it, it's like somebody's a little too excited. So I'll pull dumbass and then dick. So we got 3 dicks and a dumbass. All right. Vote online. If you're online, vote online. When we do the podcast.
You got to be careful how you word that. You got 3 dicks and a dumbass. So. If you don't know anything about this, you might.
Oh, man.
If you just jumped in right now, you'd be like, I don't know what they're talking about.
That sounds like something for the blooper reel. 3 dicks and a dumbass on the blooper reel. All right, everybody. That's the close of the show. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. And if you're listening for the first time or watching for the first time, leave us a comment. If you enjoyed today's episode, go out to the He Says, She Says KC Facebook page and like and follow us if you haven't already. Also, check out the He Says, She Says. What's the ABV on this beer? It's like 12%.
It's pretty
Also,
light.
check out the
Light.
He Says, She Says KC blog. And guess what? You can now subscribe to us and rate us. Leave us a comment on your favorite podcast platform. How about that for the heat check? How you like that, Gary? Gary's online. I saw him. If you'll be able to subscribe, rate us, leave us a comment on your favorite podcast platform. That includes iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. All right, Stitcher. Chad doesn't know that. Sounds like a bad fix job on that. It's a Stitcher.
A second-rate plastic surgeon.
Very nice. All right, folks. Take care.